What's your beverage tonight, Mike?
So far, I've got a Topo Chico, twist of lime carbonated mineral water, and
Mm-hmm.
a cup of coffee, and we'll see
Uh-huh.
where it goes from there.
Very good. You're going to be focused and sharp tonight.
We'll see.
Team lead cannot drink too much.
See,
Since
that's
when?
why.
But those are
that,
prerequisite.
that means that Bjorn's next, isn't it? See if you can.
Yeah.
Yeah. What kind of champagne are you drinking, John?
Right now I have some bovine wine, and I will probably be shifting over to some Cafe de Green Mountain because painkillers and alcohol, no
No
good,
bueno.
no bueno.
Yeah, that's rough.
Be a real interesting night. Let's not go there.
Oh,
Yeah. If you don't remember what happens tonight, I'll blame it on your pain meds.
Okay.
At least we'll have a recording. You can go back and see what you said, and maybe I'll edit it before it goes on the internet. Maybe I won't.
Maybe I'll even be able to find it on the internet.
What about you, Eric? Beverage of choice tonight?
Well, I'm at the coffee stage right now.
Mm.
I haven't decided where I'm gonna start getting my lubrication from.
I see. Well, I'm gonna dip into my Four Roses tonight. Seems appropriate to the venue, even though Reginca is a rum town, not a whiskey town.
Do I have rum?
It's got to be a spice rum. You can't go with a white rum here.
No, it would definitely be a spiced rum. I already got rid of the Kraken. That's done.
Oh, you slayed the Kraken?
Sure
You
did.
filled it in.
I do have absinthe though, and since l'absinthe is
Yes.
where we ate, I don't think that's a thumbs up though for me, because it will kick my. Go for it.
Yeah.
He
Burn
wants a
that Twitter
party.
cube.
He wants a party. What? Even this guy wants a party. Oh my gosh. My dog is excited every time I start shouting. Oh, I know what he wants.
Oh, I think last time we left off, Bjorn was down in the sauna hot tub area with Robin sitting outside the door, keeping an eye on him as he played the morphine game. Is that correct?
Yep, he was trying to get back to some semblance of normalcy.
Trying to dismiss the reality and fuse it with his imagination. And
no,
Yeah,
not his
too much
imagination.
too much imagination, but reality's not that far off either. So
Yeah.
he's just trying to mellow.
Cornell, you guys left the restaurant and headed back to the hotel. Is that correct?
Well, we all left the restaurant as a group. That's when Bjorn split off and went downstairs. We searched his room for the morphine, which we finally found, and sent it down with Robin.
So you're all back at the Ibis Hotel.
We were.
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead, Eric.
We were going to hoist Bjorn out of the sauna or out of the hot tub, because if he's in there too long, he always prunes up. But really, it's not healthy for him. We should at least get him back to a room so he can, not have a heat stroke by the end of it, or dehydrate or whatever. That was my intent, my suggestion.
And then I think we were planning on doing. We hadn't actually left yet, but we were about to be en route to La Brigantine for our meetup.
Yes. So it's still early afternoon. Lunch ended. You paid the bill and made your way down to the street. 2:30 in the afternoon, roughly. You guys check your watches. They match up with the clocks that you see around town after you've already reset them from your arrival. You are a 2-hour time difference from Burgundia.
Seems right.
Bjorn, they seem to want to move you from your roost. Do you allow them?
Well, I will ask Banny. Banny, I am smoking, drinking vodka, abusing morphine, and you're concerned that a hot bath is not healthy for me.
Well, it's an extended hot bath. You know, you're not supposed to be drinking vodka, smoking
Are you-
cigars, and sitting in a hot tub.
Good Lord, I have the ugliest wife in Europa. Stand up.
Oh, I didn't need to see that.
Careful what you wish for. I'm sorry to fill you with envy so early in the day.
Oh,
Let me get dressed, and then we can sally forth on our mission of self-destruction.
I'm here to not do that, but whatever works for you. Just don't want you to end up, toasty or, unable to do your job. Just saying. I am going to exit with that note.
You walk past Robin, who's sitting outside pensively. She indicates to you that she's interested in making an international phone call. She doesn't have enough change on hand, and she asks you if you did have an opportunity to change some small coin.
I pull out the grundle of change that I was able to avoid spending, and I said, hold out your hand.
You spill it in. She covets it, angles it, pours it into a purse. Thank you very much. I would be at the front desk if you need me.
Excellent. I'm going to go round up the troops. We're going to be heading out. Well, I don't know. I'm going to go talk to Cornell.
Cornell, you're passing through the lobby. You notice a sign on the front desk that you hadn't seen before, or at least escaped your notice, that says the apologies for the early closure of the cafe. And it references the sundown curfew that has been imposed by the local law enforcement.
Is there anybody still at the counter there, or is it completely closed down?
The desk manager, Alexander Bellamy, is there. He pushes up his hat, scratches at a little scruff on his face. You see he's just working his way through some light paperwork. He's doing that pleasant dance that service people do, trying to give you privacy unless you ask for his attention.
I turn to face him, lean on the counter a little bit, and take my hat off. Excuse me.
What can I do for you? He searches his Rolodex for a minute. Mr.
Weiss.
Weiss, yes.
Yes. I motion over to the sign. Can you tell me about this curfew?
It is an unfortunate side effect of the recent unpleasantries that have happened in town. Perhaps it is a safeguard that the police have employed to protect travelers and such. It would not hurt to follow the curfew, as the police have worked extra shifts to track down this hunter.
You know, it would have been nice to know about this curfew when we made our travel arrangements. This is fairly inconvenient.
It is a recent imposition. I imagine it will go away quickly. We have very efficient police force here.
I certainly hope so. I'd like to be able to recommend. I just spaced the name of the city.
Reginca.
Reginca, and particularly the Ibis Hotel, is a travel destination to my friends back home. But
I hope that our service and the bountiful accommodations we have here can offset perhaps the inconvenience of your later hours on the streets of our beloved city.
Hopefully. Are there any exceptions made for being out on the street?
It is possible to get a pass. You might want to step. There's a police call box two blocks down. You could put in a call for them and ask for an exception. Oftentimes it comes with an escort or at least an understanding of where you will be in the city so that you may be provided ample protection.
Well, hopefully they can accommodate as well as you have. Thank you.
It is my pleasure. He returns to his paperwork.
Where's Blanca at?
Where is Blanca? You don't see her.
Do I see any of my team?
You hear some moaning and griping coming from the stairwell from the basement. Sounds like a large Bjorn making his way up. I don't need any help.
I'll turn and wait at the top of the stairs for them to make that
You wearing a bathrobe or towel? What's your attire, Mr. Oleander?
No, I had everything downstairs with me, so I was planning on drying and dressing and getting geared up before I came upstairs.
Yeah. So I would have walked through that door a long time before.
Well, the three of them are together. Robin is trailing behind.
Cornell, are we ready for tonight? You're muted.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Good. I thumb over my shoulder to the sign. I hope so. Apparently, there's a curfew, an after dark sundown curfew.
Sundown? Does it say sundown?
I glance over my shoulder again.
Yeah, it says sundown. And you see that there's a little tag written next to that indicates that sundown is 9:10 p.m.
Well, we can manage.
We have a bit of time, but if this meeting goes late or we have anything to take care of after, it's going to be an extra hurdle.
Sure, we can negotiate something.
Why is there a curfew?
They didn't. The concierge wasn't specific, but I assume it's the murders are attributed to Lady Usher.
Yeah. Yeah, there weren't multiple bodies at any one of these encounters. It's always been one. It's always been one-on-one. So it just seems like, just buddy system it, right? We should be fine. Speaking of, where's Blanca?
I haven't seen her.
Robin pipes up. I left her in the room. She was fussing.
Fussing? Fussing how?
She's not accustomed to makeup, and she wouldn't let me help.
She's trying to do herself up for this adventure, for going out to the Brigantine?
She just shrugs and kind of tries to look distracted. She's not even going to answer that question.
Is there a local paper or a newsstand or something like that? Stack of papers at the desk?
There's one right outside the hotel, coin operated.
I'll go ahead and grab a paper.
You lift it up. It's the Reginca Herald.
What's the language?
It's in two languages, actually. You see that the front half of the paper is in Gallic. The back half of the paper, just flipped and reversed, is in Cornish.
Oh, I'll read the Gallic side. Just find a chair, drop into it.
You settle in. Some local interest stories. You do get to the recent unpleasantries in town. They're interviewing one of the family members of the boy who was murdered. His mother gives a long spiel about, he was a good boy with lots of potential, and he was coming back from his studies, and this is a lapse in security and she blames the local police for not protecting her boy.
Are the victims all children?
No, the first murder was a teenage boy. The second one was another male in his mid-20s. There is a story of an older man in his late 30s who had fled a creature on the street. He reported seeing something 2 nights ago and reported it to the police. He managed to flee indoors and escape whatever it was. He was really unclear about the nature of the encounter. He did say that it appeared to be a woman, and she didn't touch the ground. She was floating like a ghost.
Creatures of darkness. I knew it.
Oh,
How are the victims being killed?
Scissors.
Scissors?
Mm-hmm.
I am less concerned.
yeah, like I said, you run with scissors. I think the only person who could hurt you with scissors is you, personally.
The news stories of this era are really vague, right? You almost have to read between the lines to get any kind of information from something as distressing as a murder. And it's all kind of glossed over in this unfortunate alignment of, people in the wrong place at the wrong time and this nefarious creature. But you don't get enough details to know anything beyond the pair of scissors and somebody was murdered.
I lean up to Bjorn. What you looking at?
The creature of darkness is killing men on the streets, and she floats and she uses scissors. That is all they're telling us. I'm certain they are trying to protect their tourist season. But I would suggest that if we see a woman floating, then we kill her immediately.
I agree with that. Are we speaking out loud in front of Alexander?
You're outside on that there's a little curb of concrete and a few cafe tables just outside the hotel.
You know what? I kind of want to see if Alexander has any inside scoop.
Who is Alexander?
Sorry, he's the hotel proprietor. I'm gonna go talk. Lean into that and see if I get anything out of this. Not a lot of info, like you said. Maybe the locals know more than they let on. I pick up another one of those papers and I walk around into the hotel and sidle up to the front desk.
2 pennies gets you a paper and you carry it inside.
Okay. So I set it on the desk and I said, you're a local. You know what's going on in this town. Tell me this is just not just a bunch of malarkey, because honestly, I think it's going to make tourists rave for this place. They love this kind of stuff. So tell me, is it true or is it just, hokey?
Give me a diplomacy check.
You would ask me, and I haven't even grabbed my book. What the hell? Okay, I'll just.
Mike, what's your Chihuahua's name?
Oh, this is Annie.
That is a Chihuahua, right?
It's a Min Pin Chihuahua mix.
Oh. I like her ears.
Yeah, they're big.
He's
26.
a bat without wings.
Yeah.
26.
26. He leans forward on the counter, puts his weight on his elbow, and gets in close, like he's sharing a secret. There's nobody else in the lobby, so he doesn't lower his voice. It is reported that this lady usher is unkind not just to tourists, but to locals alike. I have not seen her myself, but we have many guests at our hotel. Some have hinted that they have seen things at night, but now that there is a curfew, I'm getting less and less reports. But
Wow.
I'm told a detective came by yesterday afternoon, inquiring as to anything we had seen unusual. I asked him some questions, of course, in the protection of my guests. as to what risks we were all facing, and he said the murderer was quite efficient. He wouldn't call her Lady Usher, as I had indicated, but he said that the victims were both killed in a single stroke of a pair of scissors across the throat. The older gentleman in his mid-20s was a robust boy who worked at the harbor. Man of some substance, should have been able to repel an elderly woman with scissors.
Yeah. Well, so do you have like spectral hauntings? I mean, has there been anything like that before this time?
It seemed absurd the first time we heard it, of course, and rumors fly to this town very quickly because it is a close-knit society. But we wanted to dismiss it at first as a fluke when the boy was killed a couple of weeks ago. But now there's a general we are ill at ease here. You can feel it across the community. People don't want to venture out into the streets at night. They are adhering to the curfew for the most part. Tourists are the hardest to curtail, of course. They want to enjoy the city and take in all of the sights and restaurants and clubs.
I see myself as more of the latter in this. And believe me, it sounds like these people were individuals that were out at night and alone, or moving from place to place, whatever else. We're a formidable team, just moving together, all hanging out, going drinks. This drinking, it's all there. But
the officer said there was no direct penalty for going out. It was just a highly recommended thing, and of course, you are permitted to go about the streets on your own, but you're taking great risk, I believe.
Okay, well, we'll take it under advisement. But if you hear anything, actually, I hate to just walk into the space, but was this in a particular location that all this happened? Was it, over to the north, or was it closer to the beaches, or where?
He motions through the wall towards the west. It was only a few blocks from here. The Venetian church, kind of as the crow flies, a little north and to the west. He was a block from there, the first murder. The second one was closer to La Brigantine, near the Herod God Church. Again, these are large markers. I don't think it has anything to do with religion.
Okay, yeah, because if you're close to the Venetian church, you're close to everything in the north, and yeah, I get that. Well, it's good to know. Thank you for the information. Let's just keep me apprised. I mean,
of course, you're a guest here. I will make every effort to keep you safe. And if you hear of anything to further illuminate our situation, I would appreciate it, of course.
Absolutely. Whatever we learn, you'll learn too. And have there been, outside of this, just regular hauntings, things that might be a little off the beaten path? I mean, this place is old. It's been around for a very long time.
There are two shops in town that are benefiting a little bit from this recent publicity. One is a pirate curiosity shop that has always held to the idea that old pirate ghosts wander the streets in the cities, but it helps them to sell more trinkets. And the other one is a soothsayer who is giving readings. They're on the same street there. He gestures towards the wall just outside. If you go north of the Grand Port, there are a number of restaurants around there. They are street vendors, and of course, on the other side is the soothsayer.
Okay.
I wouldn't put any credibility to that, but these two are taking advantage of an unfortunate circumstance.
Yes, as it is. This opportunity is opportunity, and there's always opportunity in chaos. Let's thank you, and again, if I hear about anything, I'll let you know. Step back outside and sit down next to Bjorn and read through the accounts myself.
So what did Alexander say, Bunny?
Well, it doesn't sound like they have a hard enforcement on it. There's no fines or anything associated with the curfew.
So it's more just a recommendation that you don't go out after dark?
Seems like a recommendation, a firmly given recommendation, but come on. All the victims that I'm seeing here, singles, individuals, alone at night, walking the streets, moving from place to place, maybe coming home from work. Just it is kind of a wrong place, wrong time. But one happened just over there. I point to the west, and one happened a bit to the north. Everything's really close. I mean, you could probably get anywhere in 15 minutes.
If you were to run from the Grand Port to the outer wall over by Port de Champs, you could probably get across the width of town in under 10 minutes.
Wow.
5 blocks from everywhere, no matter where you are.
Yeah. He wasn't kidding about having a close-knit community. It's pretty close-knit.
Well, this town is very vertical, right? The streets are all one-way streets. There's not enough for 2 cars to pass each other in opposite directions, except for a few broad boulevards.
Well, if we do end up after dark, I think you make a good point about sticking in pairs or more.
Yeah. One can
We'll
be the shooter and the other one can be the bait.
Well, I don't think we're trying to lure this Lady Usher out, but hopefully being in a duo or more will dissuade her from getting a little snippy.
Yeah. Maybe those are special scissors. Yeah.
Do you think the scissors are special, or do you think she's special? Or both?
Both. Who knows? Old woman going around slashing. Oh, every one of them was a single slash too. I realize who I'm talking to, and I pull my voice
relate.
back. And I kind of demur, and sorry.
No, you're fine, Bunny. I get it. It's not like I tried to do that.
It was
just willy-nilly. Not yet, anyways. Give me a couple more years in this organization.
Believe me, I think I feel you on that one. So what do you want to do?
Well, I was just gonna say, why don't we go see if Blanca's figured out how to deal with her situation, and then we should go scout out La Brigantine before our meeting.
Why do you think? Why do you think she's doing that? I mean, sure, but okay, that's fine. I figured she'd be better at it than.
Well, I don't think I've really ever seen her wear it before.
She's learning all of this from Robin. Oh.
You're muted if you want to speak. Unmute.
Sorry, Bjorn was destroying the hotel bathroom. Claimed it as his own. Will never be the same.
The airship yesterday, the hotel
where are
today.
we going, team leader?
We're gonna go grab Blanca from her hotel room, and then we're gonna go scout out La Brigantine, and prep for the meet later tonight.
Good. We are not nervous about floating women with scissors, are we?
No.
Just don't be solo after dark. All the accounts say it was solo people walking around by themselves.
I am going to make sure to pull out a Tessemeter, because if there's ghostlies, usually there's weak spots.
What's it say, Bunny?
Turn it on. click it away at the front of the hotel.
You thumb it. The green jewel lights up. The peg barely flutters.
Yeah, we're solid in the green. Oh man, I wonder if it'll be like.
Well, here at least.
Yeah, well, as we wander, I mean, some of those spots could be a little denser, but ooh, I get the chills from the Matterhorn at this point. You don't know when it's sweeping through. Let's go get Blanca.
Yeah, head up the stairs and knock on her door.
One
Bjorn will
moment.
wait in the lobby.
Who fetches Blanca?
I'll go up there.
You knock on the door. You hear the clanking of glass. She excuses herself for a moment. You hear her trot across the floor. She slides the lock and opens the door. Yes, she looks amazing.
Wow. Sorry. We're gonna. Sorry, you look great. I don't think I've ever seen you like this.
All the lines of her girlish charms, now that they're painted in womanhood, everything is just accentuated to a degree that it's really distracting. I mean, really distracting. You're even noticing that she has changed the clothing and the way she wears it. Whatever bodice or she's got on is propping her equipment in advantageous ways.
I don't think I can let you go out like that. You're gonna draw too much attention to us.
She reaches over to the stand next to the door, pulls some dark sunglasses, slides them on over, fetches a tall hat, little woven thing that allows a little bit of sunlight to filter through. I'm ready to go out. She grabs a scarf and a shawl.
Jackie O.
Okay. Whatever you say, Blanca. I think you're a mission lead now. We're all gonna do what you say.
She just frowns and says, "Don't surrender your control just yet."
All right. Well, we're gonna go scout out La Brigantine.
Oh, wonderful. Lunch was magnificent. I forgot to thank Robin for the recommendation. It was delicious.
Food was amazing.
You regroup down in the lobby. There are a couple of other hotel patrons there. Looks like they've brought their luggage down, and that's in the lobby waiting for a taxi.
I believe both Bjorn and I are still sitting outside in the cafe area, outdoor cafe setting.
We
got my hood up.
We depart from the elevator and start heading your direction.
You guys join up outside. It's warm. The sun is reflecting off of the wall, off to your right, bouncing back and kind of giving you double shadows under the table. Occasionally a breeze will make its way through, and there's a general flow of foot traffic from either direction on the streets to either side of the hotel, people walking. You can see some wearing shoes, others wearing what looks more like beach attire.
I'm just pointing at, what about her? What about him? To Bjorn.
What about what?
No, nothing. Just
I
asking.
smell like eucalyptus and I am on an even keel. Be grateful. Although I do look stunning in Bermuda shorts.
I could see that. Not as stunning as a yellow jacket or coat, but Bermuda shorts would do well.
This is really the opposite of your last mission. This is a beautiful beach resort.
Yeah.
Bjorn is sweating.
Yeah. I have my paper out. My core temperature is set to a lower lower amount since our last trip, so I'm fanning myself with the newspaper.
You two ready?
Yeah, I think so. I'm just gonna walk around with this. I still have the little meter in my hand, or yeah, waving off with the newspaper in the other.
About the size
Lead
of a
on.
walkie-talkie.
Ready to go.
All right, let's go. I purposely take other streets than the ones that we took to the lunch spot, just to kind of get a feel for the area.
You know, if we go up to that one and take a left, you can see the Venetian church. I'd suggest going that way.
Yeah, Bunny. Do you wanna lead us? You're probably better with directions than I am.
Sure. I'll forge ahead.
You backtrack a little bit, opposite direction from the Corsair district, and head up towards the Grand Port. This is probably one of those streets that's broad enough for 2 cars to pass from opposite directions. There are a number of vehicles parked on the street side, a fair amount of foot traffic. But as soon as you get to the Grand Port, you can see the beautiful facade of the Venetian church, all the symbology staring down at you, stained glass windows of the 4 gods. It's an impressive structure and probably 50 feet taller than any of the neighboring buildings. You make your way in that direction. You're checking your Tessemeter as you move. Is that?
Yeah, I've got it wrapped in a newspaper, so it's sticking out, and so I just every so often hold the newspaper up and click it, just to see what the responses are. It's in a U shape.
You get close to the Venetian church. Thumb the trigger on the Tessemeter, and you watch the needle bump up to the top of the green. You know this is probably a decayed breach of some sort. Experience teaches you that the decay rate and this measurement device, it's probably been a couple of days since a breach was here.
I'm gonna glance around and see if I can see any signs, maybe stains, maybe potential where things happened. I get a 28.
28. You can see where somebody has taken a broom to this street recently and kind of moved everything to the side, but there are droplets of blood that can't be brushed away with a broom without some kind of water. And somebody lost a lot of blood right here on this street within the last few days.
I hold up a finger and point, and then just keep for everybody else to see and keep walking.
You hear the squeal of a couple of girls fighting over a balloon, headed with their parents north, just to the other side of the Venetian church. Bjorn, who's managed to numb himself from all of his previous reactions, is a cool customer.
Yeah, just ensuring that the little girls with the balloons are not getting sucked into a sewer opening. I would expect nothing less. And we saw blood on the pavement, and we were not happy about that.
It was one of the spots that there was a murder, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna.
How long ago?
I look down the go to the end of the road, look down both sides, then loop back to where the group is, and hold up the Tessemeter and click it, and it's like it's still green, but right on the edge.
You don't get anything above green anywhere around the vicinity of the church. You're able to hint to Bjorn that the blood stains here align with the day of the murder.
Well, hold up the newspaper. I'll say that tells me it's possibly a ghost. Just a breach, or I guess a depression in the fabric or whatever kind of lines up with having a ghostly encounter here. So
I mean, it is still green, though. We aren't even seeing
It's-
traces of yellow.
no, but it's right up at the edge, and if it's up at all, that means that something did happen, but it's all healed up. Does that make sense? It's total conjecture at this point. We still have no idea how any of this stuff works.
I think if we have time to check another one of these locations, and is this the most recent report location?
Yeah, is this where the boy was?
Yes.
The boy was the first one. So the second one might have a little bit more.
Where's the second one located?
It's actually pretty close to where we're going.
Over by the Herod God Church?
Yeah, between Le Brigantine and Herod God.
The newspapers indicate it was in this vicinity.
I mean, that's where we're headed. Why don't you take us on a very slight detour, and we'll check that one too, see if it's a higher reading.
Yeah.
And then we'll know.
I was just gonna at the church. I was gonna take a left, jog a little bit, and head down the west side.
Bjorn's going to slide up next to Blanca, look her up and down, and say, "You are Impy no longer. Now I will call you Babla."
She looks at you and squints a little bit. I don't like the sound of that as much.
It will grow on you. It is another term of affection
Hmm.
from a man to a woman.
She smiles. I will take it. Thank you. You're looking calm.
I'm looking what?
Calm.
Tall?
Calm.
Calm. Yeah, I am.
Tall is built in. You're always tall.
Yeah, but some people are good at stating the obvious.
Yes. Well, I often want to walk a few steps away from you so that I don't have to crane my neck so that we can have a conversation. I didn't realize until I got into close proximity how large you really are.
By all means, Babla, walk about 10 feet in front of me at all times.
She shakes her head. Babla.
Wouldn't trust it for a minute, for a heartbeat.
You round the Venetian church. There's a broad boulevard. Looks like it's got a couple of government buildings. There's a large park plaza up ahead. You actually see the facade of the Golden Tulip Hotel up ahead. There's a limousine parked out front. Looks like it's just the driver standing there. There's a fair amount of traffic coming and going from the entrance.
Isn't this where the screaming was? We chased it down, and this is where just in front of that hotel was where the kids were fighting, and I gave them some money and told them to get ice cream. Anyway.
You turn south, head down a major street. The center of town is a little higher than the rest, so you kind of have this. Every street has a bit of a incline or decline to it. As soon as you turn south, you start to decline towards the edge of town. I'm kind of imagining you're taking this larger street here towards the Corsair district.
Yeah. Yep. Travel along just looking at the buildings, feeling the heat.
You've got a lot of reflected sunlight. Again, the buildings are very tall here. When you hit a cross street, you'll often get a beam of pure sunlight that comes through. But there are very few shadows here. The bright stone construction reflects the sun very well, and you're warmed by it at pretty much any angle.
I'm still clicking away every so often, click just to see if anything changes as we go. But otherwise, enjoying it.
Do we have a camera? Is anybody with a camera?
Blanca raises a finger, doesn't really answer.
Do we have that special film in it, the spectrolethal film?
After our last mission, I made sure to have some along for the ride. It is loaded in the camera currently.
I believe Bonnie has
If
some
you
as
are-
well.
If you are tourists, you should take pictures, and then we will look later to see what we missed.
Mine is in a bigger camera though, and I left my camera back at the hotel. I should.
She fishes in her satchel, pulls the camera out, unfolds the bellows, aligns the crystal. She keeps it handy. When we get to the Herod God Church, perhaps a group photo?
And see if there's anybody we can trust to hold it.
Mm-hmm. You make your way down the boulevard, turn off to the street towards the Herod God. There's a statue in that open square. Looks like it pays homage to the pirate past, indicating that the individual there was a person of note who settled a place called Quebec.
We should probably take a picture of this. This looks so much cooler.
She just has the group of you gentlemen and Robin lying there, and she works the camera. Smile, Bjorn.
Give her a big old grin. Is Quebec part of Vinland?
It is on the border of Kanata, I believe. She pushes the button, and you can see her wind the little device. One more.
I'll flex for her in that one.
Stop it. She chides you.
It's
No.
like telling the rain to stop, honey.
Benny, you reach down and your ritual of thumbing the Tessemeter. You watch the gem move from almost no activity up into that area just below the amber.
I'm gonna do some concentric circles to see where it starts to heat up and where it starts to cool down, and start just moving towards that to see if I can find the hot spot here.
You work your way out, headed west towards the Herod God Church, and before you even get to the edge of that square where the statue was, it moves into the yellow zone.
Bjorn's going to look and see if he can find a little shop or a kiosk, someplace he could get a map of the town, maybe a small guidebook.
Yeah, you see
Historical.
You see a tourist shop that's got maps, umbrellas, all the stuff that tourists forget to bring with them to a beach town.
Just get a map and a guidebook so I can at least enjoy something of a vacation.
You drop a few coins and emerge with your prize.
I might want to get a grease pen while we're here. Do you mind if we mark your map?
First,
Benny-
you forget your camera, then you want to mark up my map.
Okay, I'll go buy my own.
Smack him with the guidebook. I like pirates. They're like unsuccessful Vikings.
They just don't take as much as Vikings did. It's totally different.
Then they are not ambitious.
Well, when you start breeding with the population, that is really ambitious. I don't think the pirates were looking for that level of engagement. Am I
You
right?
don't even have a guidebook. What do you know about pirates? Turn my back to him.
Bjorn is educating himself. He failed to notice the Benny's guide to.
Oh, I saw it. Reached over it to get this one.
This is probably one of the few places in Europa that you haven't got a detailed treatise on with maps and all that other, but I'm sure it's forthcoming.
Yeah. At this point, I'm going to have to. I will go in and grab a map and actually mark the two spots where we knew that there was an encounter. I know that somebody was chased off. I'm curious where that happened. maybe there are hotspots we don't know about yet. So I'm curious.
Perception, everyone.
Perception. Gosh, that's not that hot. 26 on my side.
18.
I dropped a natch, so that's 34, something like that.
Nice.
Cornell, you notice you're looking the same direction as Blanca, and you're looking over the shoulder of Bjorn and Banny as they have their competing guides as they try to map out the city and make reasonable reconnoiter. You notice that, I mean, when you've watched cinema shows before and you get those streaks in the film that kind of shudder and move down the sides that are kind of just signs of aging film, you see that in your cornea. I mean, you're looking ahead and you just see these wavering strands, and you spend a moment kind of clearing your eyes and blinking, but it doesn't go away. In the middle of the day, you can see these black lines just kind of wavering in front of you. They're not substantial that you can tell. You move your head around trying to see if they're dimensional. It feels odd. You see Blanca look over at you and look back at the same thing while the others are oblivious to it.
Are you seeing this?
Yeah.
I take half a step over to get, a new perspective on it.
She motions, she brings the camera up to take a picture. You see the hair on her arms standing up as she pulls the trigger on the camera a couple of times, takes it at a couple of angles.
I nudge Banny and point at a plaza and tell him that 400 years ago, Bjorn the Bearded traded 15 prostitutes for a 12-pound cannon right there.
So you say that they didn't take slaves or capture people? It sounds like they did. Sounds like these pirates are pretty damn successful to get a cannon with
Yes,
prostitutes.
But where is the pirate homeland today? I can tell you of at least 3 Scandinavian homelands.
Again, these guys weren't into that. We're going to start breeding their way into a civilization. They were just there for fun and profit.
To die out young.
Robin interjects herself into this moment. Why are you defending the pirates, Banny? This is ridiculous. Let him have his Viking thing.
Who's going to defend the pirates against Bjorn and his whatever? I'm on the side of the pirates.
Pick your battles better, Banny.
I think this is just.
She pulls out a cigarette, taps the that front end so it will match the little molecules closer together. Maybe you get a better hit. She goes into the cigarette with vigor.
I totally think that the pirates are worthy. Maybe you don't want to leave an impression. Maybe you don't want to leave little squirmy. Do you have children,
I think
Bjorn?
that you just like to argue. I'm going to have as much holiday as I can before we meet the forces of darkness, and I am required to rescue you.
I hold up the Tessemeter, tip it towards him, and I click it again. Bing!
It's in the yellow.
I think we're already here.
Banny, you notice that both Cornell and Blanca have wandered about a half a block away from you into the middle of an intersection, irrespective of traffic. And the two of them look like they're grasping at straws. You don't see anything.
I do a sharp whistle. What are you doing in their direction?
Go to catch up to them.
Cornell, you and Blanca had moved up closer to these streams or bands of darkness that were just kind of hanging in the air. You reach a point where the two of you are on the opposite side of one of these things, tentatively reaching out to it, and it's insubstantial as you move through it. Air eddies don't create any disturbance in it. It's like it's not part of this world.
Blanc, have you checked to see if this is sorcery, magic?
She blushes a little bit, which overcomes her makeup. You see her do a quick gesture of the hand, and she shakes her head no.
Did you guys see this? I start walking closer to him and I hold it up and I click the Tessemeter again.
Is
It's
it
yellow.
amber?
It's yellow. It's amber. It's soft. It's not a hard breach, but
This is a wound for sure.
what are you guys looking at?
There's something here. I motioned at the empty air where the black bar is.
You're standing in an intersection. Just be aware.
You do see that there are a couple of cars stopped. Looks like pedestrians rule here, and the cars are just waiting for you to clear the intersection. There's no honking of horns or anything like that. They just patiently wait for you to clear.
Don't wave them around.
There's enough room. They put a couple of tires up on the cobblestone sidewalks and drive around you.
You guys look like you're playing puppet theater here, so I'm just watching.
I mean, we've been in full breaches and we've been in amber zones before. This is a soft spot, but it feels different. I've never been able to see stuff come across, but it feels like, I don't know.
Dude,
Even
with their description, do I get another? Can I get a chance
Sure.
to? 19. Wow.
Is
Yeah.
the middle welkin leaking?
35. I don't.
Yeah. You see it almost manifest out of nothingness in front of you. You watch the two of them playing with the air, and then suddenly you see this smoky column of darkness. It looks like a very thin campfire smoke, but it's utterly black.
I step back and my arms start to prickle up, and I give it a little distance and stand off to the side of the road.
While you're watching, you see something displace the column, and it looks like it's bipedal, and it just washes through it. Your skin does that goosebump thing.
It was already there, and now it's even worse. Bjorn?
The three of you who are looking at this all kind of see it at the same time, and there's that little wash of cold that you associate with ghosts.
Oh, dude.
Honey, I think you might have been right.
What? About what? I don't want to be right about anything right now. What?
About a ghost.
I look at that. Does the amber increase or decrease, or?
It stays just inside the amber zone. It's still closer to green than red.
Do these black lines look like cuts, not tears?
Almost like parts in a curtain.
Okay.
Instead of light coming from backstage, dark is coming through the slit.
You said, Bjorn, does the middle welkin leak into here? I think it does. I think it does. Are you not seeing this?
Any of this, or is he still clueless?
Do another perception at +2. You can see that they're focused on something very near.
You know, those wrought iron balconies right across the street are made from melted down muskets from a Montenegrin Icenian sea battle.
I think you're just making shit up. No, you should see this.
It's here in the book. Perhaps if you read the book once in a while, you would know. What is everybody staring at?
There's a tear or a part into the middle welkin.
I don't know exactly how I saw it, but it just appeared after they told me about it. And it's a little horrifying. Black.
Bjorn, stand here. Don't look at it. Look at it with the corner of your eye. Just stare for a minute. It's right here.
You follow instructions?
He got a 2 on his second perception. He doesn't know what they're looking at. He's a very simple man. He assumes that if there was a rip, something would be coming through it. And if maybe it's a rip or it's leaking, then it's not a full rip. Nobody's freaking out about the Tessemeter.
Yeah, Yeah.
Perhaps it is a weather event.
Gas, swamp gas.
Swamp gas, weather balloon.
Weather balloon and swamp gas, yes.
The thing that you remark at from seeing the passage of this bipedal creature is that it's not the only one. You get a glimpse of a few others as they move through. There's no definition or clothing or anything to indicate time period, but you definitely feel the presence of spiritual creatures in proximity. You're close to a church. You're not really close to a cemetery. It just feels busy on the other side.
I
Bjorn,
want
does
to.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Bjorn, does your guidebook there have anything about were there any battles fought here? Is there a cemetery on the island, or did the pirates dump all their bodies at sea?
I'll flip through it and tell them that there's history throughout the city. Just a whole rogues gallery of different pirates were here. A lot of the buildings that you see are built on former locations. There were taverns here. Not much of the original is still standing, but it was the Port Royal of this part of the world. It was just probably deaths constantly. If you are concerned about ghosts, certainly this is the place for them. But I'll look specifically to see if there are any catacombs, tombs, cemeteries that might still be standing.
You thumb past a few references to massacres that took place within the city, changes in power, typical stuff from a town that doesn't have a strong central government ruled by the strong.
Yep.
I'm going to unroll my map. I'm going to pull out a grease pen that I picked up in the same shop, and I'm going to just point just exactly where I'm seeing these things.
Mm-hmm.
Just draw some circles and, threads or tears. Start marking out different things. Mark the one over where the Venetian church was too, but wider and less notes associated.
Or no, it's even possible that this intersection did not exist back in the heyday of this city. There could have been a tavern, a brothel, a prison on this location, any of which could attract or hold the spirits. But again, I don't see any of it, so I don't know exactly what to tell you.
Herod God priests love this kind of stuff. Toil, challenges, weights lifted, weights put on people, that kind of thing. I think that might be interesting to strike up a conversation. See if there's any history in this spot in particular.
Robin piques an interest that you're bringing up the herald god in proximity to the church. So you catch a little bit of a cock in her head saying, "Don't mock my religion."
I'm not mocking anything. Like I said, I always think religions have a lot of power to them.
He's mocking you.
Whose power is it? Just let's.
Perhaps Robin could go into the church and ask one of the ministers if there is something special about this area.
Maybe below the streets right here.
She takes the challenge up. She extends a hand to Blanca as a backup and tells the rest of you to wait here.
Let the girls talk.
And is this part of our mission, Corey?
No. We're a block away from La Brigantine. Maybe we should go check that while they go have their conversation.
Just a quick perusal.
Yeah, just see what we're getting ourselves into for the meet later.
You back up past the statue and half block down, you see the facade of the Brigantine.
I keep glancing back. Does that dissipate at all as I move away, or is it
Yeah.
just
As you move away from that and you kind of correlate the Tessemeter with your distance from it, as soon as it leaves that amber zone and crests into green, black lines disappear.
check back,
Well,
Cornell? Do you see it?
while we're moving around, Bjorn is less interested in the supernatural and more interested in echelon tales, echelon activity, being observed, that type of thing.
You pass by a number of street side cafes, cafes that have moved their business out onto the street. Some of them have built up little wooden buckboards and taken over the sidewalk to put a couple of tables and a slight fence around it to claim it as theirs. It seems like an intrusion into the public sphere, but you can see why they're doing it. The confines of many of these places are very cloistered and suffocating.
It's New York.
Yeah. You're keeping an eye on the people seated in these areas. Nothing really raises an eye as you're making your way around. Roll a perception for me.
Now, are there cars in these streets?
The area you're at right now, there's some residential, and that's where you kind of see the cars lined up. When you get to business areas, the street is marked with painted lines that say no parking.
I'm especially interested in parked cars with people in them, especially a couple of men. Ooh, 19. 31.
Nice.
31. You are, let's see, reconnoitering the area just off of that main street in front of the Brigantine. You see there's a coffee shop on the northeast corner of that area where the statue is. Can you see where my marker is?
Yep.
Right here is a little coffee shop. You see that there are a number of people gathered on the outside. You glancing through the people gathered there, hairs on the back of your neck stand up. You see a shape there that echoes back to an earlier encounter. You see there's a woman there with a cappuccino cup in front of her, saucer, looks like maybe a croissant or something. She looks very familiar. She's got enough clothing on, large hat. You're just getting kind of that spidey sense thing that says, I know her, but I don't know where from.
Is she with anyone?
She's alone at her table. There are people around her, maybe a half dozen in proximity. She's alone at her table.
Is there anyone watching her instead of their meals? Is there a vehicle nearby with somebody in it in line with her? I want to see if she's got some cover or some backup.
You look around, check the sight lines in her vicinity. The only person even giving her any attention is a waiter with his back against the wall, looking out at her direction. He's got a little pad in his hand, pencil on the other hand. He's more watching her, waiting for a service request than looks like a protective overwatch. Nobody else seems to be giving her much attention.
So from across the street, I'm going to light a cigarette, lean against the side of the brick, and pretend to read my newspaper and keep my eyes on her and see if I can figure out where I know her from.
Are you kind of trying to blend in?
Yeah.
Give me a stealth check.
This is going to be interesting.
28.
Wow.
He's got a decent stealth. And a decent intelligence. You'd think he's just this lumbering ox sometimes, because he is.
Well, Yeah, bull in a china shop, but a smart one.
Yeah,
Just knows exactly where to put the hoof to, maximize the effect.
that's right.
Cornell, you look around to check on your team. You notice that Bjorn has stepped around the corner. You can see his elbow sticking out from the side. He didn't disappear around that corner, but had you not watched him go there, you wouldn't have been able to pick him out of the crowd. He's gone into kind of this operational mode that you've seen him enter before. It's probably okay to give him some alone time, but you also know you're close to your rendezvous point.
I drop my voice and make sure Bonnie knows that Bjorn just dropped off our tail, but to keep walking.
He must have
We're half a block away. We'll continue to the corner, and then see if we spot what he's doing from there. If not, then we'll continue on.
I am gonna play tourist. I'm gonna be somewhat obvious, looking up, elbowing Cornell and pointing up at the skyline.
Bjorn, you're watching the woman across the street. She's content to sip at the cappuccino before her. She does raise her head and summon the waiter who's nearby. She points to something on a menu. He nods the affirmative and then heads inside. She does look up and kind of do a general sweep of the street. She doesn't seem to see anything that adjusts her pattern, and she goes back to, it looks like she's reading a newspaper.
I'm assuming that I can at least differentiate between someone I've betted and remember versus somebody else.
You're remembering rainstorms and a long drive and a cemetery. Something about a border crossing and an irritating woman in the back seat.
Oh no. Now I remember who she is. I just have to catch her name. Annoying bitch probably isn't her real name.
You look at the woman across the street, and it's not your rescued starlet from Clovia. But those images are flashing through your head, and you're trying to sort through the Rolodex of everything that happened that day. You remember a car crash, bicycles go flying.
It's the Echelon Mage who somebody threw a bunch of glass at. I can't remember if the man or the woman was the mage, but she's Echelon.
You put the puzzles together. You pierce through the veil of her half-assed disguise. You see her crazy eyes from behind those sunglasses. You recognize Fleur.
Bjorn is going to
go ahead.
Throw a quick prayer up to Odin and pray for restraint, because he already has a plan of action mapped out for Fleur. Oh boy.
Has a head boiling approach. I can already see it. Gotta make those skulls pristine when you hang them in your domicile.
Well, now, Danny, you make the half a block walk towards the front of La Brigantine. You can still see Bjorn in hunter mode leaning against the building. You see his shoulders move forward. You almost see his snout.
I want to see what he's got a beat on, because he is a bloodhound. When he sees something, it's, oh gosh, that's a 25.
You see the focus of his intent. He's looking into a little coffee shop. There are a half dozen patrons gathered around a woman in a hat sunglasses pushed down to the edge of her nose, sipping at her cappuccino.
Is Cornell anywhere near me?
You look down the street, they're 100 yards distant.
I'm gonna to bump Cornell and point back and say he's got something. I mean, you saw him stop, but he's focused on whoever that person is inside of the cafe. I don't know what it is or who it is.
Keep an eye on him. If he makes a move, we got to be behind him quick.
Yeah, well, we're ranging a little far, so we should probably get in proximity.
Let's cross the street so we're on the side of the cafe and move halfway up. Maybe window shop at one of the other shops nearby.
Keith, is there a way? Is this a fenced cafe or no fence?
No fence. I say no fence. They've got those little posts with the little draped ropes in between to kind of segment it off. That's all the barrier there is.
If I were to try to approach her from behind, how difficult is that going to be? How many people do we have back there?
She's on the street with the building behind her, the opening behind her. Really, to get behind her, you'd almost have to go through the kitchen and come in through the back of the building. She's got herself positioned. There are two small tables out towards the edge of the sidewalk. Hers is back closer to the building.
So she's got a way to run back through the building if she needed to.
Correct. And even from her position, she could, skip over the little braided rope and make her way up the sidewalk if she wanted to.
Okay. Well, I'm going to hold my position, and hopefully my people will come to me. I don't want to take my eyes off her, but I'll keep her in peripheral because she had a partner last time. Echelon agents don't tend to travel alone. There's going to be backup around someplace. And while I'm engaged in all that, just reach into my haversack and make sure that I can get a quick grab on our anti-magic collar.
Yes, the cold steel greets your hand. You know to grab it on the outside, not the inside.
Yes. Yeah, Bjorn's first instinct was to stride across, step over the rope, and shove the triple barrel Tyrannosaur into her chest and open her up like a salmon. But he's thinking about plan B.
Bjorn's got a plan B?
What in the world?
Plan B.
That's mission leader status right there. That is mission lead status.
I saw something on Facebook the other day, and it's just got this Marine just completely involved in a firefight, and it said something like, when your friend the Marine says he's going to plan B, shit's about to get real.
Plan B, plan B.
Plan B.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to keep watching for supporters for her backup.
Benny and Cornell, you adjust course. You cross the street to the other side, so you're on the same side as the cafe. Moving away from La Brigantine, headed north. There's a few shops there. Looks like there's an antique shop there with big open windows that you can use as kind of your excuse for loitering.
I'm going to. Well, he's not here, or else I would do it. But I'm going to point at. Wait for him just a moment to see if he comes in. I'm going to point at Cornell, and I'm going to just tap my fingers twice and glance over to see if this individual is looking in our direction. Just tell him to go into the shop. as stealthily as possible. You know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to ditch him, and I'm going to sneak into the. I'm going to duck into the shop.
Okay. It's 2 steps up. The street gently angles down, and you step up into the shop. You push through. You hear the bell ring. Ding, ding, ding.
Ding, ding.
You see old lamps set in the front window, bureaus, desk, hutches, all set around. You see a beautiful chessboard laid out in front of you, all the pieces tucked in the drawers. And older woman behind the countertop, hair pulled up into a bun, looks your direction as you come in. She pushes up on her glasses. She calls out to you in Gallic.
I respond in Gallic. Do you have a back entrance? I saw my ex. I don't want to see her. She's on the street.
She scowls a little bit. Oh, I'm sorry, this is not appropriate.
No, I just don't want to talk to her. It's not like I'm hiding from a wife.
Yeah, that doesn't sound suspicious at all.
Yeah, give me a diplomacy roll. Let's save you from your own excuse.
It's not like I'm trying to duck out on a bill or anything.
It's not like I'm. Oh, that was a 15. That was brilliant. That was absolutely brilliant. I've never rolled that low on a diplomacy check.
I'm sorry. For customers only.
Okay.
Motions around the shop and anything that might interest you.
Yeah, I'll observe towards the window, the shop.
You do have a decent view of the cafe from here. You see Cornell outside.
If I make eye contact with Cornell, I'm gonna do this and point down the street where Bjorn is looking.
Bjorn, as you're watching your compatriots across the street, they divide. One stays outside, one goes in a shop. They're in close proximity. As you're waiting there watching, you see a tiny car pull up. Looks like it's a Clovian manufactured vehicle, 2 doors and tiny little windows. You hear what sounds like a 3-stroke motor, maybe a sewing machine, hard to tell, roll up in front of you.
Does she stand or give any indication that she's about to move?
She's still sipping at her drink. She looks up and you see a look of annoyance on her face as the vehicle stops in front of the restaurant or the cafe.
Do I still have eyes on her?
Yeah, you can still make out the outline of her hat and her shoulder, but she's a little obscured by the vehicle. It's a short enough vehicle and you're a tall enough man that she's not hiding behind it.
Who's the driver of this vehicle? Did you say it's a 3-wheeler?
Yeah. No, it's a 3-stroke motor, 4-wheel vehicle. You see a young man. God, if he's 20 years old, he's been. A 20-year-old man inside, short haircut, maybe kind of military style. He's dressed in civilian clothes. He pops open the door and hops out, and you everything about him screams military. He stands up and looks that direction, but it looks like he's afraid to approach, as clearly he's a subordinate in this instance.
So look like a driver, maybe?
Soldier, driver, maybe, out of uniform. I mean, you've witnessed enough soldier interactions that this is second nature to you. He bolsters his courage, steps up onto the edge of the sidewalk, which also puts him in contact with the ropes. She is purposefully ignoring him. You can see that from here. You hear him clear his throat, and she looks up, sets the cappuccino cup down, and looks his direction. You see him click his heels and head nod to the north.
Toward the car or someplace else?
Looks like kind of back the direction you guys had just come down from. And The head nods towards the Venetian church if you're looking at the map.
Okay. She
She
still hasn't started to move yet?
no, she reaches into her purse. You see her pull out some paper notes, throw them on the table, and
Head down, start walking toward the little car, keeping the car between us.
Cornell, you see Bjorn move from his perch. You see intent on his body. He is headed somewhere with purpose.
Is Bunny still right next to me?
He's inside the store looking out at you, trying to get your attention.
I give a little rap on the glass and a nod. I am going to match Bjorn's intent. The second he starts moving, I'm matching him stride for stride.
Bjorn, as you cross the street headed toward the little vehicle, I mean, these are narrow streets. It's 5 strides to cross that road, especially
2-door or 4-door?
little 2-door.
4-seater?
There's a little bench seat in the back that could probably hold 2 people. The front seats are clearly the only comfortable place in that car.
Just do a quick scan. Is there any possible way I could slip into that back seat and lay down without being seen? I know it's like trying to shove a 10-pound ham in a 5-pound bag.
Yeah, I mean, a car that size, they'll probably feel the weight sooner than later.
Well, they're going to feel something sooner than later. Now I'm going to just move over and squat as if I'm tying a shoe and watch them through the glass of the back windows.
Okay. You're looking through the glass. You see Fleur finish tossing the bills and a few coins on the table. She grabs her purse from the back of the chair, throws a shawl over, and takes a step towards the car. You see the two kind of engage in a little bit of posturing. He calls out to her in Gallic. Your presence is requested for an important meeting. She's like, of course, it's always an important meeting. You notice, actually, give me a perception.
And because it's about to come up, which way is the car facing? Which side is the steering wheel on?
It is a left-hand drive vehicle. It is
Okay.
It is pulled up to the opposite curb, facing south.
So
It's
what
facing
side is facing her?
the driver's side is facing her.
All right. So if she was going to get in, she'd either have to come around the car or climb into the back seat through the driver's way.
And in that case, you can tell by the car, he'd have to lean the seat very far forward, and she'd have to throw herself into that rear cavity.
Just do a quick, make sure that the passenger door isn't locked.
You reach for the handle. It's one of those little push buttons with the grabber.
Yep.
You get to a point where you feel the lever give way and the door catch releases.
Okay. Perception. 19.
19.
Unless it's an initiative, and then it's a whopping 21.
Woo. Cornell.
Yeah.
You're at the front of the building, looking north. You see Bjorn cross the street. He slows his pace. You see him reach down, feigning to tie his shoe. One of his hands rises up, and you see it thumb the side of the door catch on the vehicle that's idling on the curbside. Opposite from him is a young man in civilian clothes looking towards the cafe setup. You see a woman rising from the table. The two of them are standing maybe 8 feet apart. There's a little bit of posturing going on. You see, that's pretty much the lay of the land.
I start casually walking towards the cafe. I don't want to get to the cafe, but I want to be closer.
You move in that direction.
When I'm about halfway there, I'll probably stop, lean against the wall, light a cigarette. Look like I'm just taking a smoke break.
You reach into a pouch, pull out a cigarette, grab a lighter or a match. The cherry lights up in front of you. You see Bjorn. You kind of imagine him in the trenches, right? Pressed up against an earthen wall, getting ready to go over the top. You're just waiting for the whistle to blow.
Out of curiosity, this is a little tiny little European shitbox, right?
Yep.
How tough would it be for me to just flip the whole fucking thing onto its side?
What's your strength?
19.
19.
And it can scale if it gets angry.
In Bjorn's mind, he can see this thing clearly. He could reach the underside of this thing and roll it over. He knows it was going to be a bit of an exertion and probably require most of his attention for a round.
I'll be in a rage, so it'll have all my attention.
The idea can't stop growing in your mind.
Cool. So many options.
I am watching. I see Cornell slip out of my view. I haven't actually followed him.
There are side windows on this shop and front facing. You can actually watch him as he's moving to the street corner. You can see the cafe as well.
Okay, I can see what's going on from this. I look back and watch the woman. Is she watching me? I mean, or does she busy herself? Because anytime she's distracted, I'm going to go and see if I can find a side door and get out more to the northeast.
Yeah, after your entrance, she's paying very close attention to you.
Okay. Well, that was a bad diplomacy roll after all. I don't want to step out just yet. I am going to...
She moves from behind the counter up to you. Can they interest you in...
Just give her a hand for a second. See if she reacts.
I'm afraid it is time for you to go, monsieur, as she starts to nudge you towards the front door.
Let me go through the back door.
Disorderly conduct in an antique shop. You are a rebel.
Yeah. Grab something and say, stop.
You hear her in a raised voice call out, Martin, come downstairs.
Put the thing down, walk out the front. Just move along the front and duck around the corner to the right. Being as smooth or as discreet as possible, basically trying not to catch anybody's eye. It's not actually a stealth, it's just me walking.
Okay, Cornell, give me a perception.
27.
You see the woman at the table that has stood up and moved closer to the young man, using her purse. You see her hand behind the purse, casting gestures. You've seen Blanca do this 100 times when she doesn't care who's watching. But she's hiding the gesture behind her purse. Looks like she's looking towards the street.
Is she looking past the guy? She's looking past the guy into the street. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, you know what it's like to see two people in conversation, even from the side. She's looking past him, not at him.
I flick my cigarette and I start moving towards her. Not a run. Okay. I don't want to draw attention. She's focused there. I don't want to stop that. It's going to be a walk. I am walking towards her. I don't, because the guy is probably facing more towards me than she is.
Uh-huh.
I don't want him to spot me either.
Okay. So are you employing stealth?
Yeah. Let's do that.
Okay. That's how we roll.
It's a good roll. Let's see. 26, 30, 34.
Okay. I have a hard time keeping people in their seats tonight.
Yeah, sorry. Mine was a girlfriend call that I had to take.
I get it.
Keith, you asked what I was going with tonight.
Uh-huh.
Tonight is sponsored by a fistful of bourbon.
Oh, have you tried that before?
I haven't had it by itself before, so I am trying it by itself. It's the initial taste isn't great, but it's got a great secondary aftertaste.
So it's kind of got an alcohol burn on the front end?
It's almost I almost want to say peaty, but that's not quite the right flavor. But it's got some light peat in the middle of the tongue. Mm-hmm. Peaty smokiness, and then it kind of dissolves into vanilla, cardamom, cinnamon aftertaste.
Oh, that sounds nice.
Yeah, the aftertaste is really, really good. It's really nice. It's just that initial, when it first hits your tongue, is just okay.
What did you say you rolled on your perception, Bjorn?
It was a 19 total.
So for initiative, it would be a 21?
Yes.
What was your last initiative, Cornell? Or your last perception?
Let's use my stealth for my initiative.
Let's do that. That puts you at a
34.
34.
I'll have to use my stealth for an initiative. That's a 31.
Benny?
Haven't actually rolled anything yet.
You might want to, but at this moment.
Okay. Jeez, I have rolled 3 10s today. And yeah, out of the handful of rolls I've had. Yeah, that's a 26 perception.
Okay.